Well, this is I kind of feel like I gotta get, I guess, a little bit under as far as understanding how to get back on here. It's been a month. I feel like I don't know what I was supposed to say here. Oh, okay, yeah, this is supposed to be the intro. So TrendChat is back, and basically this is not much on this particular episode. I wanted to talk about as far as what's been going on the past month, and also just a little bit on Mayweather-McGregor. So this a little bit, well, given that it's also Saturday, so normally it's on Tuesday and Thursday, but not only that, this is a special edition of TrendChat. So stay tuned. Episode of TrendChat. I'm your host, Mayweather-McGregor, and just gonna ride out a little bit. Haven't heard this in a very long time, so I just want to hear a little bit more, let it play out. So hoping y'all can hear me. So like I said, I'm kind of really getting back into this whole thing, just trying to know exactly what. Trying to learn the ropes again. Even though it's only been a month, it's still like kind of just got everything to do. And so, gonna fade it on out now. So, welcome to another episode of TrendChat. This is actually episode 51 of TrendChat. So, thank you for listening. And I write for politichicks.com. If you want to read some of my articles, just go to politichicks.com/author/Brian Bledsoe. And we're on Google, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And speaking of Politichicks, also don't forget about the Politichicks, a clearing call to political activism, which is available now on Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Suggest everyone go pick that up. Has over 300 pages from contributors like myself talking about education, healthcare, you name it. Basically anything political, it's probably in there. So, especially for people who are more interested in being more politically active, I would suggest picking that up. So, actually, it has been a month since I've actually, I think the last broadcast was June 27th, so just a little, I guess maybe 30 days out. How many days it's actually been, but I decided to kind of around this time anyway. And I know the last episode I did, it seemed like, I don't know if I was coming back at all, which in one sense I actually didn't know. I kind of had a clue, maybe so, maybe not. But I didn't really fully know. So I said, let me just go on a hiatus, which actually it kind of lined up perfectly in a way. It was episode 50. So that was, kind of like a benchmark to if you was going to leave and you were just leaving on some obscure number or whatnot. And we were going into Congress, basically going into recess, so for a month, and I was like, well, and those two things were already set, but the one thing that kind of set off as far as the reason why took the hiatus because I just had like unexpected turns as far as my career. So the people who hear me now, this is something that I, do on my free time. But my main job, if you don't know, is being a truck driver. And had some crazy stuff happen in the past couple of days before the last 2 episodes up in Colorado. And so I needed a lot more time, and I didn't really have time to do the podcast anyway. I was already looking at it probably being maybe a week or 2. And so after so long, I just said, well, just wait till a month and come later. And so actually, when looking at, okay, we was at episode 50 anyway, Congress in session, so recess, so I would just go ahead and do it now. So, and everything worked out pretty well. I'm back on the road. If you didn't see my post on Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, and so I basically, nothing's really changed. I'm still doing the same job, really. Just a few aspects as far as internally when it comes to driving change. But for the most part, it's all pretty much the same. Should be still able to cover events for politics and for TrendChat like I have before. That shouldn't change too much. So, like I said, everything worked out pretty well. The hiatus kind of helps me as far as kind of focusing as far as what I want to do, and along with the podcast as well as in general. And I know one thing that I kind of realized is that, look, I'm a truck driver. I mean, like I said, that's what I do. And I just kind of got more focused in seeing that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is a career. And as far as doing a podcast, I do it, just like when I first started. Basically when I came, which is not that difficult because I'm on the road, then I'm off. And so I have the time to do the podcast. That's not really the problem. But it just kind of like, I don't know, maybe in the beginning I kind of maybe had maybe something changing to where maybe I wouldn't drive at all and just do this podcast, which I'm open to doing. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it, but I just had to get more focused myself as far as where I wanted to go and just know what my priorities are. So as far as what I need to do. So as far as what I need to do to provide for my family, I need to focus on my primary job. Doesn't mean anything as far as here changes so much, really. I'm just letting everyone that's hearing this know. And so as far as the show, I know I mentioned about some changes. My time is not so much, it's not as limited because of what I just mentioned a minute ago. It's not so much that I also have limited time in general to do a podcast. So if you don't know, I am on Spreaker, and I definitely appreciate Spreaker having me on, giving me a platform to do this. But the thing is, at this current level, I can only do 45 minutes a day. So, at first, you heard the first couple of episodes only did 15 minutes. And at that time, I was at that level. But then I upgraded around CPAC, so I was able to get all the interviews in a timely manner. So I upgraded to be on for 55 minutes. So, and this is the level I am comfortable in staying at. Mainly because it's affordable for me. It's very affordable. Like I said, I definitely appreciate Spreaker for having this, this app as far as everything to do a podcast like this. As far as taking another step past that, I don't see that happening right now, unless, I don't know, some sort of sponsorship or something like that, or something to increase whether the visibility, advertising, or whatever like that. I'm getting real inside baseball, I guess, on this, but I'm just kind of letting y'all know. So as far as having a limitation as far as 45 minutes on here, that's no problem. I can do 45 minutes, which is fine. The other part of it is that there's a limit at how many hours you can do total. And so I want to keep doing the podcast, but the more I'm coming on a week, really, that total time is just ticking away. And I just want to make sure whatever I'm doing on the podcast, to try to just do something, just to go on, just to be going on. And I know the format right now is Tuesday and Thursday. And so the one change will probably be is that it won't be 2 times a week, Tuesday and Thursday. It will probably be either Tuesday or Thursday, unless I got interviews, or whether from an event or interviews from people who are reaching out to come on. For the most part, I'm going to try to keep it just a weekly podcast from this point on, just so I can go on a few more months. And then after I reach my limit as far as total time on here, then we'll assess where we're at. Are we going to increase and go further or not? Or, like I said, whatever that we're going to do. But we'll get to that. All this, what I'm saying, is kind of a long ways away as far as reaching a limit as for the level I'm at on Spreaker. I think we'll probably maybe another 6 months or so before I have to really worry about it. But I'm just telling you now, given that I'm just going through everything as far as being off and where I focused my attention and how I'm going to do this going forward. So I just want to let y'all know that. Like I said before, everyone that's listening to me right now, y'all on this journey with me as far as learning how to edit and all that and putting this all together. And it's, I'm not saying like I'm about to leave or something, but it's been great. And I'm looking forward to continue on. Matter of fact, we will have 2 episodes this coming week on Tuesday and Thursday, because we should have two interviews this week. So we will have shows in the next coming week. After that, then it may be starting then going into just a once a week format. But like I said, also another reason too for the the month hiatus was after the Western Conservative Summit. That was the last event that I will be covering this year until next year for CPAC. So, like I said, all of it kind of just played out in a perfect little time frame for me. So, right now, there's the Texas Tribune Festival, but with things that changed, that is one thing that changed, that I might not be able to make that festival, that one event. But outside of that, nothing's really else going to change. It's just the schooling of it conflicted with other things in the past month that has come up. So I may or may not be covering that event. And so if I'm not covering that event, then like I said, it won't be anything else left. Well, for me, I won't be covering anything else until CPAC. So from this point on, if I'm not doing the Texas Tribune Festival, then it'll basically just be doing interviews here and there, or maybe cover an event somewhere in Texas, or maybe something's up, or I might be in the area, and who knows. But any scheduled events, there's nothing I'm scheduling to cover until next year. So like I said, all that kind of just came out. And so I just want to let y'all know about that. I also want to do this Saturday because I didn't want Tuesday and Thursday, the next shows, next week. On Tuesday and Thursday, I didn't want them to be me telling you all of this. I want to just kind of get running with the interviews. Actually, we talked to, we did an interview today that is going to be posted on Tuesday. And looking at the length of it, they're probably going to take up most of the time on Tuesday anyway. So I didn't want to be all of this, because right now we're at 15 minutes and I've gotten to all this. So that's all basically on my time away. And I guess I'll get into the some of the issues that, I guess, some of the topics that have went on in the past month or so. Not so much, but I guess I might touch on them a little bit. But before that, let's hear from our friends at the Founding Project.
Hello, TrendChat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
Yep, and like I said, I'm still trying to. It's funny. You stop doing something for even a month, and you notice that some things are. You were kind of used to doing things kind of in a second nature kind of way, and then when you're doing it again, you got to really think about it. Like, okay, let me make sure I turned it on, and stuff like that. And so. As far as some topics, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Like I said, this is live, and I didn't write a script or anything, which is typical. Even when I record them, I'm not writing too much script, which is, it could be good and bad in a way. But in this sense, I really am just thinking off the top. And I guess one thing that kind of stuck out in the past month, one, Stephen Bannon has left the White House. And also yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, Gaston Gorka has also left. Which, if anyone noticed, I did post a previous episode. It was episode 2. Which I'm like, wow, I didn't know there was the second episode I said this. But if you listen to that episode, you will know that I'm not really surprised about any of this turnover that is going on. So I'm not even going to get that much into it. I didn't get much into it then, but like I said back in that previous episode, don't be surprised you have a whole new cabinet by next year, or whole new administration. Minus, other than President Trump still be there, but everyone else might be totally different. Because one, we're talking about someone and talking about President Trump as having a reputation of telling people they're fired. So that's mainly what a lot of people know him for. So to have people coming and going all the time in the administration, fired or whatnot, or resigning, whatever you want to say, it shouldn't be surprising, because he's not going to put up with anyone making the administration look bad or anything, I guess you can put it. And he has no problem firing you. He has no problem letting you go, because when we're talking about someone who made his name outside of real estate and everything else, but with The Apprentice, telling people they're fired, people go in a snap. So anybody that's going to be leaving the White House, getting fired, resigning, whatever, in the next couple of months, even with the ones that already been let go, it shouldn't shock us, given who is in the White House. So I've actually talked more about that now than I did in that episode 2. But so that's basically all I have on that. Now, the other thing, obviously, that kind of sticks out is Charlottesville, with the whole riots, with the white nationalists and alt-right, the alt-left, the Antifa, Black Lives Matter. All of them suck, but that's basically how I look at it. And as that go, I would just refer you to my personal Facebook page, where I kind of laid out how I felt about everything, because I was actually asked, I actually forgot, some newspaper called me about giving them, because I was a delegate last year, and they wanted to ask some African American Republicans about President Trump's remarks, and if if I didn't get that call, I probably wouldn't even posted what I posted on Facebook, because I'm just not the type of person to just be so reactionary and just post stuff after every event that happens. That's not me. Which, for better or worse, as someone who does, I guess, who do a podcast on trends, people say that, well, you should give your opinion of this and that. Well, for one, for me personally, a lot of what people want to comment on, I just ain't got time for. So, say, for instance, like what happened in Charlottesville. I saw two groups of people that I can care less for, and a good number. I mean, I'm saying two, but there was more than two groups there. But for the most part, what I was seeing out there, I just didn't care, to be honest with you. I saw Black Lives Matter, Antifa, all, and then they were fighting people that are white nationalists or whoever if you want to call them neo-Nazis or whatever, and for the most part, and they were all fighting amongst each other or whatever. And I can care less about both of them. So as far as commenting, I'm like, whatever. Now, you did have people who were for because of the statues, and those people get lumped in with that craziness as well. And however you feel about the statues, that's another thing I mentioned. For me, if they stand or fall, it's not that big of a deal for me either. Like I said, this whole thing was just like, I'm not offended by statues. I mean, it did. I wasn't triggered by it. I'm still not. And so that doesn't bother me. So you put that issue with those groups. And so that whole deal, watching that, I just didn't care. But man, everybody else did. But that still didn't make me care to even want to comment. And like I said, the only reason I even put that out on Facebook because people asked me about my opinion for that. And so that's I posted that. And I basically just said what I posted for the most part. I can't even remember what I posted. But yeah. And a little bit about what I felt about Charlottesville. So and about the continuing shakeup at the Trump administration, which will continue. There will be more people. Mark my words, there will be more people who are going to be either fired or resigning in the next couple of months. Who knows? It'll be. I feel like a theme song for the Trump administration. Anyone in the Trump administration should be like Another One Bites the Dust. I mean, that song ought to be playing. Too bad I don't have the money to be in that in the background. but that should be like, that's almost the theme song for the Trump administration, because people just, you never know who's gone, who will be next. So that's it on those two. Here's another word from the Founding Project, and after that we will a little bit about this upcoming fight today, which is another reason why I came, so I can give a shocking prediction on the Mayweather-McGregor fight coming up later on tonight. So, here's another word from our friends at the Founding Project.
Hello to fans of TrendChat and Brian Bledsoe. The Founding Project, an education nonprofit dedicated to civics, invites you to visit our brand new website. Visit us at thefoundingproject.com. Be a part of the civics movement with the Founding Project. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
And the mic is on. Yeah. All right. I guess the last thing I'm gonna bring up, and who knows, I'm probably not gonna talk about this. Well, it depends on what happens tonight, I guess. And I said I don't have much to talk about that, but then when on the issues I say I don't have much to talk about, that's when I tend to go and rant. But this Mayweather-McGregor fight tonight, well, first off, my prediction is that Mayweather will win. Also, take note, I am not a boxing expert at all, whether MMA or any of that. I am basically going by how anyone should really look at this. If you're one of those people who are, placing bets or whatnot, or even if you're not even gambling, just looking at the odds. And I told someone this a couple of days ago. Take the names off of this. Take, Mayweather and McGregor. Just take the names off and just describe this fight for what it is. You have, at best, a amateur boxer going against a world-class boxer who has been fighting for, I think maybe 20-some years. He was also undefeated, but he's older than the amateur, but he's still a world-class boxer going against the amateur. If you just laid it out like that, most people say, yeah, I'm on the on the world-class boxer. Even though he may be older, you will still think he can beat an amateur. And that's basically how I look at it. So that's the reason why I said maybe I care less about what, the race, whatever, and anything else. It's just amazing to me how this fight has been hyped just because of the trash talk. That's the only way this fight is even compelling. Because if you explain it the way I just said it, this wouldn't be a fight to watch. Who would care to watch this? Who would care to watch a world champion against an amateur? Because you would just know how this is going to end. But just for the simple fact, because you have two people who are willing to talk to the end of the earth all day long, for that reason alone, this fight is apparently compelling enough for people to pay almost $100 to watch on pay-per-view, and who knows what theaters, and going to Buffalo Wild Wings starting. They probably lining up right now at Buffalo Wild Wings to to reserve a seat to watch this fight. They don't start till 8, 9 o'clock. Yeah, there are probably people at Buffalo Wild Wings at some bar right now reserving tables just so they can sit here and watch. I mean, it could be a good fight. It could go on 12 rounds, or it could end in 1 round. And yeah, like I said, I just see Mayweather winning. And I think he went by knockout, but given the fact that, now I might not be an expert, but one thing I have noticed on, not even by watching Mayweather's fight, just watching highlights, that he's not like a knockout artist like Mike Tyson. So maybe if I will say, my prediction is Mayweather winning. Yeah, I say Mayweather wins by I said knockout by the 6th round. 6th round. Mayweather by knockout, 6th round. The only reason I said that is because Conor McGregor will maybe tire out by then, and just by out of fatigue, maybe just slip a little bit, and then Floyd gets a shot in and knocks him out, or TKO. Actually, don't know the difference. I think it's TKO or knockout, but maybe just enough to knock down a couple of times and just win that way. And yeah, now also by me making that prediction, I wouldn't be surprised if McGregor knock him out. It wouldn't shock me. But it's funny, if Conor would win this fight, that is a huge indictment on the sport of boxing. That you have an amateur come in and beat a world champion who was 49-0. He just comes in on his first professional fight and beats your champion, and for all these years. If that's not an indictment on boxing, I don't know what is. So if that happens, it feels like all the pressure is on Floyd Mayweather to win this fight. I mean, if Conor McGregor's getting, if McGregor get knocked out, what does he have to lose? I mean, he just go back to UFC, and so what? If McGregor got knocked out, and go back to UFC. And why would he lose any credibility? Why would he lose a lot, at least? Because that was boxing. This is MMA. This is a whole different style. And he's still the champion in the UFC, so. But for Mayweather, yeah, it's all he has a lot to lose. One is undefeated streak, and also the fact of the sport of boxing would definitely lose a lot of credibility if you have something like Floyd Mayweather lose. Even if if those 12 rounds and Floyd wins by decision, I think that's still not good for boxing. Is that, again, you have an amateur in his first professional fight and goes 12 rounds with your champion, with someone, one of the most prolific boxers in your sport, and he couldn't put him away. So it's definitely up to Floyd to win the fight, and not only win the fight and not the distance. But hey, like I said, I'm no expert, but that's what I'm going with. Hey, my Oscar prediction was right. You got to listen to that. I got the who going to win Best Picture, and that had nothing to do about the artistic nature of the film either. I just knew which movie was going to win just based on a political agenda. That's how I picked that. But in this, I know people want to split this up as far as being about race. You had the black people who want to go with Mayweather, and whites, I guess, want to go with whatever like that. Whatever about that. But one thing that I have thought about is that you have to, as far as the hype of this fight, like I said, I can't see why this fight so and why this is such a spectacle. Because I say it again, we're talking about an amateur going against a professional, going into his first professional against a world champion boxer. And the fact that this fight has grown to the level that it's grown to, either people really have a low opinion of boxing to think that this could be, more what it is. Either, thinking that this could be something like this could be the making of a great fight, to even that before this even gotten to this point. They must, people must really have a low opinion of boxing, or people really hate Floyd Mayweather, which is actually understandable. That being said, Conor McGregor is no angel himself. He's no boy. So we're talking about two trash talking, vile people. They've really been going at it. If you've been hearing these press conferences and whatnot, like that, we're not about good versus evil here between the both of them. And also, like I said, the fact that you have Conor McGregor, who is able to just basically talk his way into this fight, I'm surprised that is enough to get people to buy in, which is it's just amazing. I'm saying all this, and that's someone may be saying, "Are you going to watch it?" I don't know. Right now, we are broadcasting out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I don't know where I'll be later on tonight. I'll tell you one thing, I'm not paying $99. I'm not paying 1 cent, put it that way, to watch this. For the reason what I mentioned just now. But if I'm near a Buffalo Wild Wings, I might drop by closer to around 10 or 11 when the actual fight, not the undercard, but, I walked in, I might walk into a Buffalo Wild Wings and stand by the door and catch a glimpse of it. Kind of what I did when the Mayweather-Pacquiao, and there was a bar next by, and I just walked in I just stood by the door and just to watch that fight, and that was it. So, but as far as anything else, nope, I'm not planning no parties. I'm going not going over to someone's house and staying there all day so we can talk about this. And all that could be talked about this fight was basically what I've been saying in the past tense. Everything else has just been filler, just fluff, as far as just because I don't see this as very compelling at all. Now, they could prove me wrong. One factor that I think about too in this, in what I would call the Trump factor, I think that's another something else that kind of has played into this. And I'm not saying this is political about the fight in particular. What I'm saying is that the Trump factor, being that you have McGregor, who should be huge underdog, but the simple fact that you just had someone who all the polls said was not going to win in Donald Trump. When you had all these polls saying that Donald Trump had a 0% chance and Hillary Clinton had a 90 to 95% chance of winning, and then Trump wins. That sort of fact I don't know how much that plays in this, but I think it plays into thinking like, well, anything can happen nowadays. If the polls was wrong about that, I mean, and not just one, like so many people wrong, then people may be wrong about McGregor. So I think that kind of plays into it as well. They like, well, maybe he got a shot. Maybe we don't know it all. I mean, we didn't know it all anyway, but yeah, I think that maybe plays into, may think he might have a shot. So anyway, we'll find out tonight. Depending on what happens, I guess I might talk about it Tuesday, but we already have a guest. We already interviewed today, so we will post that about our guests in the this coming up. And so glad everyone that you took your time to listen to this kind of a reintroduction to TrendChat, I guess. And like I said, we will be back. Well, yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday. And you know what? Just gonna end it right now. I hope y'all have a good night, and also prayers to everyone down in the Gulf around Texas with Hurricane Harvey. Hope everyone's safe. Facebook has a pretty tool as far as if you have people in that area that to check if they're safe. So check that out. If people down, give them a call, or like I said on Facebook, you can click a button to see for them to click on to say that they're safe and whatnot. So I guess use that. And in the next couple of days, I'm sure there are going to be some recovery, probably a lot of damage. So hopefully be able to however you can help. Prayer. If you can donate your time, donate money, whatnot, do that. American Red Cross, your church. So praying everybody do well out there, and until Tuesday, we will chat with you later.